No hair. Balding. Fucker.
I hope
All right.
that's the opening part of the video.
Edited. Fuck it. All right, here we go. Take the Wrestling Podcast here, coming to you on March 13th, 2021, alongside Mike Benier, Joe Lopez. Fellas, what's up?
Oh, you know, coming to the ring, weighing 500 cookies.
The American Nightmare. Cody.
Just for reference point, before we started recording, Ernest was like, "Oh, look at your shirt," and then starts doing his Justin Roberts impression, which for some fucking reason sounds like Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, let's just roll with this.
Anything after 11 p.m. is up for discussion. It's fucking.
My shirt choice this week is the gentleman who requested his WWE release.
Thing got denied.
Well, I mean, did you think it was going to get accepted? Like, let's be real.
I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe.
I think I have a better shot of getting fired from WWE than he does, and I don't even work for them.
Yeah.
Quick answer. Why do you think he wants to be gone? Just because of not being used properly, or what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's clearly because he keeps winning all those matches on TV every week.
Insert random reason here.
Yeah. Anything applies.
What, honestly, it drives me crazy because this man is literally a legend in Mexico. Like, I was lucky enough to go see a CMLL show in Mexico City when I was there about 5-6 years ago now. And I got to see La Sombra wrestle, and it was one of the coolest things. I bought a T-shirt that night. I don't have it, unfortunately, anymore. But, I totally, that was one of my one of my prized possessions of wrestling T-shirts. He's such a talent. He's one of the original members of Los Ingobernables in Mexico. He's got so much talent. Look, let's be clear here. Even within WWE, his match with Johnny Gargano at that takeover has to be one of the top 5 best NXT matches of all time.
Which year? On a timestamp. I need a timestamp. 2017?
16. Mike, you're good at this.
I want to say, was it when Gargano won the title?
No, I think it was before he was champ. Or maybe, I don't know.
No. Andrade was already gone because Johnny won the title at TakeOver New York after Ciampa got hurt.
Right.
So I'm going to say it was 2017.
That's what I was
feeling. At an NXT TakeOver show, I believe it was in Philly before the Rumble.
Yes, that's for sure. It was definitely the January one. Ernest, if you've never seen it, go watch it.
That's what I'm asking. So I can go watch it tonight.
Give me a second. I'll figure out what show it's on. Give me 2 seconds.
In the meantime, before we get to our topics today, we've got a pretty big show today. We're gonna obviously do our tag team bracketology tonight, part 1.
Oh, baby. We got the brackets, baby. I'm Dickie.
Also, we got Mike. We did a little swerve this week. Mike decided to change pace today, and we're gonna do this week the Pandemys. If you don't know what the Pandemys are, it is the awards show here on Take the Wrestling for the pandemic, the best of pandemic from March of last year.
I hope this is the only time we're ever gonna do the Pandemys.
Of course, yeah.
So excited.
Yeah. And of course, Joe's topic, we're going to talk about AEW coming up Revolution last week, that crazy ending and all that and whatnot. But before we get started, announcement here real quick. As you guys know, we do this podcast over a year. Typically, our shows drop on Sundays, and then recently we moved to Saturdays the last month and a half or so. As of next week, this podcast will be now dropping episodes now on Thursday night / Friday morning. Basically, we're recording late Thursday nights. Obviously, editing gets done, all that. So early Friday morning, you'll be seeing Take the Wrestling on your podcast feeds. The same time, by the way, the same day that Something to Wrestle drops your shit. So 2 for 1 there. The same.
Yeah, just so you guys are very clear, the reason why Joe is looking like he's trying to figure out if he's the bouncing fucking thing from your screensaver.
What the fucking hell are you doing?
The reason
exactly what Mike just said.
He was trying to get himself into the 4 corners. He was trying to move around. Yeah, I see what you're doing. No, the reason behind the change, my schedule was changed at work. I used to have off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it made our time slots that we had very accommodating. But things have changed, and to keep this thing afloat, we've made the decision to move to Thursdays. It works best for Ernest and Joe's schedule. I'm still available that day. Now that I'm off Thursday, I used to work Thursday, so we got that situated. TakeOver Philadelphia from January 27th of 2018 is the Johnny Gargano Andrade match. It is the main event. Feel free to fast forward the rest of it. I think that was actually a really good show, but
it was.
That match.
And Ernest, you're gonna need to watch that some point in the next week and a half, because otherwise you're gonna have to wait till August.
I know. You're in the news with this. Yeah, I'm so pissed about that shit. Oh, my headphones fell off. Hold on.
He's so mad he can't hear us anymore.
I'm missing out last 10 seconds.
It was I'm done.
I'm done. No, I'm so pissed about that shit. We'll talk about it a little later. By the way, for the record, I think this move to Thursday is going to be great for us, because I feel like the Thursday move kind of puts us in the middle of the action of wrestling. Like, we're close to AEW, we're close to NXT, Raw's not so distant.
He says it all like he's going to watch any of it.
No, I am. Yeah, no. no, but more than anything else, your life,
you can't lie to us.
More than anything else, we can preview these pay-per-views now and give it a couple days to simmer.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Also, for you guys that are avid Take 3 listeners, also breaking news. Ernest may be in on this. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. Myself and Joe Lopez, the plan on Tuesday is to get tickets for WrestleMania, be in Tampa, April 10th and 11th. Ernest will not be joining us because, fuck him. So we're going to do live reactions, myself and Joe for sure. Hopefully Ernest can join us night 1 for sure. Night 2 is in the air.
Yeah.
Ernest, you can't sit with us. Okay.
I still say that if you go, I send a text. Make sure you go, show some titties on front row, the whole nine.
Well,
we're finger crossed. I don't want to jinx it at all.
Let's not jinx anything yet.
Yeah, we're gonna try our best on Tuesday, but we know what we're aiming for, and it can be
lost
really
your
fun.
titties. It's okay. I lost your titties.
I mean,
he's gonna show his now. I knew that was gonna happen.
I'm done.
Yeah, no. So
fucking guy.
The hope for ourselves is to do.
We are not sponsored by Manscaped.
We're not.
Promo code Take 3. 20% off.
Hoping to do live show. Myself and Joe driving back from Raymond James to our hotel. We'll try to get Ernest on for that. The Sunday night show. Ernest may not be able to join us due to obligations Monday morning. But we'll figure that out as we get a little closer. But look for those live drops almost immediately following WrestleMania.
So
we're going to get those out quick.
In fact, that's an active week at WWE, actually, because there's a lot of shit going on. They got, I think, 7 days straight of wrestling.
We'll only hopefully be at the WrestleManias. I don't think we'll be at any of the other shows just because of the time.
I cannot get over for either of the nights of TakeOver, nor do I think they're going to have fans for that because they haven't even released any kind of information for that.
Oh,
right.
And they haven't really released any information for the Monday Night Raw after. But I have to get back for work. Joe's got some obligations that he's got to get back for as well. So that kind of left Monday off the table. So it's really going to be a WrestleMania. That's it for us.
I'm even thinking, I think what would be cool is as long as we actually are able to, secure tickets and go to it, which I'm really hoping. It's funny because they announced today that they're selling 45,000 tickets per night, or maybe there wasn't an official. It was kind of.
I don't think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was anything was official, but I think
it's like a Herbie fine kind of thing.
Yeah,
but. It's funny because on the one hand, that makes me feel like, okay, we're probably not going to have that hard of a time getting tickets. On the other hand, I really wasn't trying to sit around 45,000 people. You better cover your fucking faces with your masks, all right?
Wear your fucking mask, guys.
I box 7 times a week. If there's not a mask on your face, my fist is going to be on your face.
Well, the good news,
you better be there.
Joe, hide your wives.
Well, the good news, Joe, is that, it's been, 3 months since you had COVID?
Yes.
So that came out a week after you.
Yeah.
That body's still being there.
Yeah, but y'all got that mega mutated Florida COVID. I don't know. I don't trust that shit.
Yeah.
But
did you just have a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers reference in this show?
Yes. So no, but so if we do get to go to the show, though, I think what would be cool is for us, and especially since we're doing video now with this too, is maybe taking some video at the show, like maybe like of kind of like what the experience is like in the audience, as a fan, and like I don't want to be the dorks that are sitting there recording the podcast at the show. I don't want to be those people.
We can't film any live matches. The camera has to stay on us.
No, not the matches. I'm saying like just like quick reactions after a match, or like walking around like fucking when we go buy our pizza. I'm buying pizza. If they're selling pizza, I'm buying pizza.
Chicken tenders and French fries.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, let's get to the first topic. I'm ready.
Yeah. Bottom line for our listeners, though, outline. We're gonna WrestleMania week. We're gonna have a lot of content coming here on Take 3. Look out for that. We're gonna serve you guys. Looking forward to it. It's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. So there you go.
You'll get a rapid reaction from night 1 of TakeOver. You'll get a preview of night 2 of TakeOver. You're gonna get a preview of WrestleMania. You're gonna preview of the preview of the preview. And yeah.
And at some point, WrestleMania Jeopardy.
And probably Mike's tits at some point.
This is Jeopardy.
At some point. So anyway, all right. First topic of the day. I want to go to Joe. Joe's topic really got me going this week. Let's do it.
Well, I mean, I'm glad I have that effect on you, Ernest. Arr. All right. So, my topic this week, I wasn't going to just go for a straight, hey, let's review AEW Revolution, because it's been a week. Dynamite happened. Right. Dynamite happened. A lot of stuff happened on Dynamite, to be perfectly honest. But my topic did actually first come up after Revolution was over, after all three of us actually did get to watch the show. We got to see the, whatever you want to call what happened at the end of the night. Whether it was the plan, whether it was, technology not working in Tony Khan's favor, whatever it was, we all know that show kind of ended as a dud. It's kind of sad. And it made me start to think, has AEW jumped the shark? Now, I'm sure you guys know what that term means. For those of you that are uninformed,
explain it to the listeners and me.
Huh?
Explain it to the listeners and me.
It's really easy. It's a TV reference, okay? It actually comes from an episode of Happy Days. From, I think, about the 8th season. I could be wrong about that, but it is a later season episode where the Fonz, while wearing his leather jacket and a bathing suit, literally on jet skis, jumps over a shark.
Yeah.
And everyone pretty much decided at that point, hey, your show's kind of gone a little bit past the edge of believability.
Yeah.
Like, we were with you when fucking Mr. Miyagi owned the diner, but now you got Fonzie jumping over a shark and we're good. So it's kind of a way of being like, hey, has this thing, has this show, has this company, has this musician, whatever, have they gone past the point of being believable? Have they gone past the point of being someone that you trust, someone that you're like, oh, wow, I can take this seriously? Which, let's be clear here, AEW, from when the moment it first came up as a thing, when they first started presenting it, part of their pitch was believability. It was, we're going to be a real sport. We're going to have the records. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're not going to have silly storylines, yada, yada, yada. Miro called. We're a long way fucking removed from them making promises like that. So my question to you guys is, and I think especially after the end of Revolution, where, you know, super villain Kenny Omega, like literal fucking bad guy out of a video game, Kenny Omega, failed at blowing up the ring or succeeded at, you know, getting one over on everyone and making Jon Moxley and the fainting goat Eddie Kingston look like idiots, or like, is this now at the point where because of all of this, can we no longer take the company seriously? What do you guys think?
They long jumped the shark, long time ago, because of the fact that you said it. We're gonna be a sports. This is sports rankings, all this shit. Oh boy, look who's here.
Oh, we got a visit from Logan. He feels it jumped the shark as well.
No, seriously.
Yes.
They long jumped the shark, buddy. Long jumped the shark because the problem with them is they overpromise. Tony Khan every time overpromises, and luckily for me, I was smart enough to realize, you know what? Let's temper this shit down because the whole idea about them wanting to, they have this Hall of Fame caliber talent coming to the company. You know fucking well it wasn't Brock Lesnar or it wasn't CM Punk. Come on now. Let's stop. Am I mad as Christian Cage? No. It's good. But it's the expectation levels now. People, it's because wrestling fans are not. Look, wrestling fans, you know this. They're not rational. They're not rational at all.
That's
so they're
true.
pissed off, obviously. So it's all about tempering expectations at the end of the day. So yeah, but they jumped the shark a long time ago, though.
At what point would you say, like, what was the moment where you were like, I no longer believe this company?
Probably when they got Matt Hardy.
At the very least.
Probably when they got Matt Hardy.
Okay, interesting. Why? Why don't you like Matt Hardy? Scott, Reba Hardy's gonna fucking tweet at you and threaten.
No, not that I don't like Matt Hardy. I love Matt Hardy. I think, but it's just what it's what they said versus what they've done. We're gonna be believable. This and that. We're not gonna follow stupid storylines or silly gimmicks. And to Matt Hardy, his first gimmick gimmick, which I love, by the way. But it's what they said versus what they've done. That's all.
I don't think I agree with you on the Matt Hardy argument. When he came in as the Broken Universe, that's something that a lot of people loved in the wrestling world, especially at his time in Impact with the Final Deletion, Deletion, and stuff like that.
I love it too.
So they decided then to go into a different role after he had the concussion. And this is something that I think that they could really be playing on here, and I think this is something that could work out well for Matt Hardy. They could play the role of, well, he was the Ultimate Deletion, and the concussion knocked some sense back into him, and now that's why he's become Big Money Matt. And the thing is, Big Money Matt is almost like a gimmick that, and this is going to sound really weird, it reminds me a lot of Drew Rosenhaus. Super agent, tries to fucking get all of his people a bunch of money. He is what's the guy in baseball? Scott Boras. He's got that mojo with him where it's like, oh, okay, we're going to give, we're going to wait out our contract. We're going to try to get as much money from my guy as I can. We're going to go 1 year at a time. We don't care. We're never going to sign an extension. We're never going to give you a discount. We're going to come for everything so I can get my percent.
Right.
And I think that's a role that Matt plays really well. We've talked about how, the legends have been paired with everybody. Got Arn Anderson with his Waffle House menu. We got Tully Blanchard bringing out old school NWA title belts. And now you have Matt Hardy trying to sign people to multi-million-dollar contracts like Scott Boras and Drew Rosenhaus. I think it works perfect for him.
I love the gimmick.
I actually think that's the most believable thing that they've done in the last fucking 6 months.
No. I agree with you. My whole point is less about the Matt Hardy part and more about what they've said going into this whole thing when it started the company to what they started doing.
We knew from the very beginning, and why I say we, I mean, I think I'm not trying to speak for Joe here, but we've had these conversations. AEW was coming in as New Japan Light. It was like the American version of it.
Right.
Like you were going to get really good matches, you were going to get some throwaway matches, and then you were going to get like the 5-star classics. Like that's what you were going to get from these guys. New Japan hasn't had a storyline since Minoru Suzuki probably powerbombed somebody on their brain, and then they had a fucking blood feud for fucking 6 months. Those guys don't have storylines. The most over story they've had is Toru Yano trying to sell his own merchandise.
Right.
They don't have storylines in New Japan, but for some reason everybody loves it. I love New Japan. They don't have a story. Any. There is no stupid gimmicks. There are no their biggest gimmick and storyline is student versus teacher.
Right.
Like, oh, okay. This guy was in Suzuki Gun. He left Suzuki Gun. Now he's gonna fight Suzuki. That's it.
But, I'm going to disagree with you slightly. I think they do have slightly more storylines, but they're the exact same storylines that come out naturally in most sports.
Yes.
Like it's the kind of stuff that you see in UFC. Like nobody's booking UFC. No one's creating fake storylines. But naturally, as you have real life people with, real life problems, real life relationships, real life things that happen to them. Real storylines do build. Real drama does happen. Mm-hmm. Like there's a reason why, a Ravens and Steelers football game is always going to mean something because of the natural born-in storyline of the feud between those teams and stuff. Giants Patriots is always going to kind of mean something because it's accidentally become a storyline. Like that to me is different. And I appreciate that New Japan does that because it's like, it's interesting to me. Like, I enjoy like Hiroshi Tanahashi being like kind of the leader of the old guard, kind of, the ace of the company, who's still like every time like he doesn't approve of Kota Ibushi now, like trying to unite these title belts. And you see him on the stage just kind of like that's not okay. It's so subtle that it works. And then all you need to do now is have Kota Ibushi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, who are gonna put on an awesome match. You have this great roster, and you can trust them, and you do something simple with them. And you're right, Mike. I think that at the beginning of AEW, especially with the guys that were involved, with the former Bullet Club guys and everything, it really felt like that we were going to get basically the New Japan style of pro wrestling in an American company. And now,
we didn't.
We've had a 3-month-long feud where fucking Chuck Taylor had to be Miro's butler. It's like a fucking Seinfeld episode. Like, why'd you sleep with my butler? What do you care? Because he's my butler. Like, that's fucking bullshit. I don't need that from AEW. Because, like, a lot of people are fans of the company. A lot of people who are fans of the company also seem to like blindly hate WWE. But let's not sit here and pretend that they're writing fucking Shakespeare with their storylines in AEW. And the thing is, they've got the potential. They have all the little pieces there. If they had gone with their original plan of like, the records actually mattering, wins and losses making a difference and all that, look, you can't tell me that the tag... Do they even still do rankings, number one? I don't...
Of course they do rankings. I did this bit of my podcast saying they get rid of it.
You can't tell me that the tag team rankings matter when the last two teams to win shots at the titles won battle royals to get their shots at the titles. Like, congratulations, you won, you're 10-0, but you can't win a fucking battle royal, so you're never getting a shot at the tag belts. That's stupid. And that's the kind of thing that really kind of gets to me, where I'm just like, all right, I don't know what you guys are doing. And so here's the thing, like, this week's Dynamite, I think, was a great episode. I actually really do. I think it was great television. And I think that they set a lot of things in motion that could be very exciting to see pay off. My thing is, this company has not instilled in me in the last, like, year and a half the belief that they're going to pay off on these things that I'm currently excited about. Like, I literally finished watching Dynamite about 5 minutes before we started recording this. So I'm hyped. I'm like, yeah, give me Cody versus Penta. Give me fucking the new 4 Horsemen against the Inner Circle. Give me all of this. Do I think that they're actually going to succeed at giving me what they've set up here? Given the last year and a half, no. I think they're going to end up making me kind of wish that I had gotten what they started to set up, that they don't end up paying off. Like, I honestly, why are Cody and Penta fighting this Wednesday? Their storyline literally just started. That's a pay-per-view quality match.
Yeah, I agree.
Drag that shit out. You build it. Fucking each guy has like 5 teammates on the roster. You got plenty of space to like build this thing without these 2 guys actually having to compete against each other until it's a money match. Why are you giving this away next week on Dynamite? Why is it that every week on Dynamite there's a better card than fucking Revolution was?
Back to your topic, or back to your discussion about rankings. I want to read you off the rankings real quick so you guys can understand how bad these rankings are, because they're fucking awful.
Shoot.
All right. This is the March 10th, 2021 rankings. So this is before the Dynamite show. The top 5 in the men's division are, at number 5, 2-0 in 2021, is Chuck Taylor's man, the guy he manserves, Miro.
How many is he?
2-0 in 2021.
Wow.
In 4th, he's 2-1. He is the former TNT champion. He cannot fight for the world title. The American Nightmare, Cody.
The American Nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. Number 3, his lone loss was to Kenny Omega in the exploding barbed wire death trap stupid shit we watched on Sunday night. Jon Moxley.
Jon?
Yeah. Second place is Hangman Adam Page. He is 3-0. And the number 1 seed in your rankings so far through March of 2021, a guy who I fucking hope they actually do something with now that he's number 1, the Bastard. Pac.
They're not doing anything with him. He's fucking with the number one contender for the tag title.
Let's go Death Triangle. I hope they
Yes.
fucking win the titles. All right, women's division. The 5 seed is 4-1. She lost to Hikaru Shida at Revolution. It is Ryo Mizunami. The 4 seed is 4-1 in 2021. The Doctor, Britt Baker.
She's a dentist, man.
At number 3,
Yes.
yes. At number 3,
DMD.
she's 5-1. It is Nyla Rose. At number 2, 6-2 overall in 2021, Tainara Conti.
Okay.
And oh my God, the number 1 seed in the women's division for 2021 as of March 10th. She's 4-0.
Can I guess?
Sure, why not?
Oh wait, look, she's here. Is it Rio?
No, Rio's not 4-0.
It's a big swole.
No, Big Swall hasn't had a match yet in 2021. She's coming back.
Fuck,
Monday
where
night.
the fuck's big swole at, dog?
She's been out. She's not hurt.
Yeah, I think she's dealing with like Crohn's disease or something like that.
Swole.
She got announced for Monday's Evolution show. Number 1, she lost to Jade Cargill in the mixed tag match.
Velvet
It is
cake
Red Velvet Cake.
already?
How trash is this?
That
the tag
doesn't
team.
even make sense.
She's 4-0, dog. She's 4-0 on Dark. We got to make Dark matter.
What's dark?
Make
All dark matters.
The tag division in 5th place, the number 1 contenders for the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Pac and Rey Fenix, Death Triangle.
Okay.
At 4, a team that is no longer a tag team after the events that took place on the show Wednesday night, MJF and Chris Jericho.
Yep. We hardly knew ye.
In 3rd place, 4-0, Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy. In 2nd place, the team that should be in 1st place, 2-0, and the new tag team enforcers of the new 4 Horsemen, FTR.
Okay.
And in 1st place of the tag team division, at 6-0, they have formally said that if they lose their next tag team match, they will no longer tag together. It is Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian of SCU.
Are you serious?
I'm staring right at it right now. It's fucking shit show. This thing is awful.
It's so bad. I want to go to the next topic now. Fuck.
I don't understand. I really don't.
So my believability went out the window probably a lot later than Ernest, because I always thought that this ranking thing that they were trying to do wasn't going to work.
Yeah,
I said that to Joe from the very beginning. I was like,
yes,
unless they stick to this, it's just going to be a laughing stock.
You gave it a
stick to
chance,
it past
though.
the
You gave it a
first
chance
show.
early on. I was totally against it from the beginning, because the rankings, what it does, it puts you into a corner.
It does, but it doesn't. Because here's the thing: that you can always work around things. Evolve Wrestling, when they first started, they used a ranking system, and it worked because Gabe stayed to it. So how do you make? Okay. So but the thing is, how do you make the guys that you want to be in the rankings up more? Have them beat the enhancement talent. Have them beat guys that you may be able to tweak gimmicks or something like that in the future. Like, let's be real. SCU 6-0, awesome. I'm glad they're winning matches. But when you tell me that 5 of their wins are against like Top Flight, Devon's Kids, Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, me and you, yeah, and one of them was against me and you because we walked out on the match because they weren't paying us enough. I mean,
and they're all matches that nobody has seen because they only took place on YouTube.
Correct. So that's the issue here. If you want to make the rankings mean more, do separate rankings. Do your AEW Dark rankings and list the top 5 there.
Yes.
And let them have matches against guys who are mainstays on the main show. Have Frankie Kazarian and Chris Daniels take on Lucha Boy, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus.
Right.
If they win that match and they get to 1-0 on AEW Dynamite and they're 17-0 on Dark, okay, that means they get a shot at a team that's in the top 5, or a team that's on the show realistically more often. My real issue here is it's so limited. The rankings are so limited. You have 5 guys. Okay, Penta's not on that list.
Right.
Chris Jericho's probably had a couple of singles wins that he could probably still be in that top 5. I mean, your singles division in the men's should really be a top 10.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Your women's division, you could leave it a 5, and your tag team division, you could probably leave it a 5, because you could honestly even do honorable mentions or just miss the rankings and just list those other people that just missed. So you're like, okay, Top Flight just missed.
Right.
The Dynamite rankings. Okay, so maybe they're the 5 seed or the 6 seed. They want to challenge somebody in the top 4. You got a built-in storyline right there. And it makes perfect sense. It makes more believable.
See, so here's my question to you, Mike, and maybe we'll propose it to Ernest when he comes back. Mm-hmm. I'm low-key cheering that when the lights come back on, Sabu is there. But anyway, right? I feel like you'll understand where I'm coming from, maybe more than he might. So that's why I really was going to ask it to you mostly anyway, because you've been a fan as long as I have been. You've been a fan of the many different companies like I have been and stuff. Mm-hmm. I feel like as a wrestling fan, you might be able to relate to this. Every company eventually hits a point where you hit a make or break. Am I sticking with watching this company, or am I good on this? And it always, like every single company for me that I've ever watched, I hit that point at some point. Not to say I don't go back to it at some point necessarily, but
you gotta take a break.
Right. Like I can remember the point when I was, the biggest Ring of Honor fan, and then it's like 2011, and I'm like, I'm sort of good on this right now. And
that's about the time that Gabe started to evolve and gave us something fresh.
Exactly. And the booking in ROH wasn't the greatest at that point either, right? Or like with Chikara, where like I remember, from 2008 to like 2010, 2011, biggest fan. I loved going to their shows and stuff. They do that hiatus, they come back. It's never the same company.
It was never, it was definitely never. There was definitely never the same.
And we all know how it ended. That's unfortunate. We won't even get into that. But like it definitely, when it came back, I went to that first show when it came back. I was like, okay, cool, I'm ready. And then I was like, I think I'm good on this. And I never ended up going back to Chikara because it didn't stick around long enough for me to eventually come back to it. Like now I'm a huge Ring of Honor fan again because they've kind of come back around to being kind of a really quality product that I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
TNA is another one. Like, you didn't know me at the time. This is how long ago TNA started. But, like, I watched the weekly pay-per-views on Wednesday night.
So did I.
Yeah.
So did I.
I was doing that for about the first, like, year, I'd say.
Yeah.
I was so into it. And then, like, obviously that, like, 2005 period where, like, Joe was there and Christian Cage was there. And most of the guys that AEW signed recently were there. I was really into it then. And then you get to like 2011, 2012, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to be done with this. And even WWE. I have my periods of time where I did not watch WWE, where I was like, I'm good on this. I've gone back and watched them for the most part. But that's why even like when you and I are rewatching shows for our show, there are times when I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen this before, even though from like 2004 or 2003 or whatever. Especially like when I was in college. That was a real period where it was like, okay, nothing really good is happening in WWE anyway, and I'm kind of busy. I'm okay on this,
Speaking of colleges, before you go on,
yeah,
congratulations to your Iona Gales for making it to the NCAA tournament.
I'm very excited. We will lose in the first quarter, as is tradition. Anyway, so like, I know that I've hit that point with different companies. I don't think I've hit that with AEW yet. Like, I still tuned in to Dynamite this past Wednesday. I was ready. I was like, okay, I want to see what they're doing. And they did enough on this show to make me be like, I want to tune in next Wednesday. I want to see. I might even watch Elevation on Monday. I don't have the 5 hours to watch Dark, but like I can commit maybe to an hour of Elevation and then Dynamite next Wednesday. I'm still invested enough where I'm not ready to be like, okay, it's time for me to take my break. My Ron Springer for a year from AEW. But it's crazy to me how close it actually could be. Like, it's crazy to me how much I'm like on give them try number 4. Like, give them this another chance. They've got my interest raised with the new storylines that they're building. They've got the potential there. It's this like I always thought MJF in the Inner Circle was one of the most awkward things. The fact that that's over, thank you. Like, that alone is enough for me to be like, I'm willing to see where you're going with this, you know? So they've done enough stuff where I'm still there. But am I still going to be there in 6 weeks when all of this stuff amounted to nothing? And we're back to fucking stupid storylines with, like, Miro turning on Kip Sabian and stealing Penelope Ford? I don't want that. I don't want that to
I
be
don't think you're gonna get that one. I think Miro and Kip are gonna be a team that they're gonna actually use in the tag division. I get your point. Where I'm at is I have a very hard set date for myself of where I draw that line.
Okay.
And they have Double or Nothing. If
Okay.
after that show, if that build to that show doesn't get me involved, I'm probably gonna take a hiatus because
I don't blame you.
It is one of these where the reality of the situation here is where are we going with Kenny Omega?
Right.
Is it Adam Page at Double or Nothing? And if it is, then get the title on Adam Page.
Yeah.
Get the title on the most over guy in the company. The guy
Right.
strapped the rocket ship to his back. The reality of the situation is they should have strapped the rocket ship to a bunch of people's backs, and they've chosen to fucking hit them with fucking like little fucking sparklers.
Right.
The way I look at it, Double or Nothing does not have Inner Circle, New Horsemen, Blood and Guts. You don't have a better shot at doing this than you do right now.
Yeah.
You had this opportunity. You had the fucking perfect group. You had the Inner Circle versus the Elite. Pandemic happened. You didn't want to have more than fucking 5 people around each other due to the whole testing stuff. I get it.
Yeah.
You get a pass for that. 1 year has gone by. You've built one faction to be dominant, and you had somebody come infiltrate them and try to rip them apart from within.
Right.
If this does not end with Santana, Ortiz, Swagger, Sammy, and Jericho against MJF, Spears, FTR, and Wardlow, I'm done.
Yeah.
You got 7 weeks to do this.
Yeah.
You shot the first shot on Wednesday night.
And
here's
a big way.
Go get it.
Yeah.
And the reality of the situation is, if you want, I know that Kenny Omega and Adam Page is the money match.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you don't want to give us that, and you main event with Blood and Guts, and you put Kenny Omega with the Good Brothers, and Adam Page with John Silver and Alex Reynolds, or Uno and Grayson, or whoever the fuck else you want to put him in with the Dark Order.
You can put him with Moxley and fucking Kingston.
Or you can do Mox, Kingston, and insert random person here as their third, and let them take on Omega and the Good Brothers. Yeah. I don't care. I don't need an AEW title match if it makes sense.
Right.
I get it. You only have X amount of pay-per-views. Double or Nothing is your WrestleMania. You got to have a title match. But you don't.
No,
you do it the right way, you don't.
No, because look, back in the day when WWE only had 4 pay-per-views, Hogan did not defend the title 4 times a year. He did not defend it at Survivor Series half the time.
He was always in a Survivor Series
SummerSlam even half the time. Half the time, SummerSlam, the main event was a tag match. That usually was like either
Warrior Hogan versus
or coming off of the previous WrestleMania. It really just depended on like where they were. Right. No. I think that makes complete and utter sense to me, honestly. That like that's a good like I will give them into this point to see where they're going and if they can kind of make it interesting. Ernest, I'll propose the question to you and then we can wrap the topic up, I suppose. By the way, I'm sad Taboo.
I had more card to build though that I could have done.
Oh, well, that's okay too.
All right, so Ernest, what you missed is Joe has prompted me the question of what is your hard line in the sand where you finally decide, okay, I might have to take a break from this company. And the line that I've set for AEW is Double or Nothing. That gives them
really.
Well, I mean, you have 7 weeks, bud. Figure it the fuck out. I mean, we've sat here for a year and a half. You gave us a really cool show with some sparklers and Conrad Thompson to tell us that you were doing a company, and then you gave us some more sparklers and some random souls. Yeah. So here's what I told Joe and anyone who's listened to me rant about it. I immediately said that Double or Nothing is a show to me that is going to be the make it or break it point because of a multiple of reasons. Number one, last year you had 2 teams that you were getting ready to put in war games, blood and guts, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. Fancy names, sue me. I don't care. You had the Elite on this side. You had the Inner Circle on this side. Okay? You've just turned Santana and Ortiz, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Jack Swagger face. You now have the New Horsemen sitting there ready to go. So, Double or Nothing, give me blood and guts. Give me the Inner Circle. Give me Sammy, Pride and Powerful, Jericho, and Swagger versus FTR, Spears, MJF, and Wardlow. That's got to be the main event.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I also said in that build-up that I don't need an AEW World Title match at Double or Nothing. I don't. If you're giving me War Games, if you're giving me Blood and Guts, give me Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus John Moxley,
Yeah,
Kingston,
I'm with
and another name. Or give me, or give me, if Adam Page is still the number one contender, give me Adam Page and 2 members of the Dark Order versus them.
I'm with you.
I don't need. If you're going to be an NXT show, basically the way
Right.
takeovers used to be, and it was like 7 matches, all 5 titles were on the line. It was a car crash. You used to leave takeover shows gas.
And it's interesting because you bring up takeover. Here's the thing, and I think one of the reasons why Double or Nothing as a kind of make or break point for you makes sense. And like in general, I think like it is a real the next 7 weeks or however long it is that they have to build up to it, and then the show itself. I feel like this is a real like let's see what you guys are gonna do. Like you're kind of on the hot seat now to actually deliver. And here's the thing. I think up until Revolution, up until this pay-per-view that just passed last week, AEW had at least one thing that they could stake their flag into, and it's something that NXT has been able to stake its flag into ever since they started doing takeovers, which is takeovers. I don't care if you're not excited going into the show. I don't care if the card is lacking, it feels like in any kind of real big stars, any kind of big matches and stuff. Tell me, name one takeover that wasn't at least a 4 to 5 star event. Overall, every single takeover delivers in the terms of quality, especially like since they got out of the Performance Center. Like since they started.
I was gonna say probably the first couple when it was at Full Sail, like when it was still like a very new thing, like that was. But when they started traveling with the main, like for the main shows, like
they
there wasn't a takeover.
Deliver.
There wasn't a takeover that you didn't get a 4-star show out of. Right. And I mean that's including having random opening matches.
And so here's the thing. I would say that AEW also could have made that claim with all of their pay-per-views until this past week. Until Revolution. I'm sorry. I thought that was a shitty show. I thought that was like a C+ show at best.
Whoa. So you hate the show. See, I thought the show was really good. I thought the ending was sucked.
I honestly, the only match that I really super got into, ironically, was Moxley and Omega. I thought they were having a fantastic match until the end. Like, it does suck because that was an incredible match. And if it didn't, it's like the Brock Lesnar-Kurt Angle WrestleMania match, right? Like, it's a great match that no one's going to remember because all they're going to remember is how it ended.
Ending. Yeah.
That's it. And it sucks that that's the truth, but that's the truth. But I wasn't that into the show up until that point either. Like, I didn't enjoy really any of the matches that much.
The tag title match to start the show, it was a good placement for that, but the match just they weren't on the same page.
No, they weren't.
Those 4 guys were not on the same page all night. The Battle Royal was fun. The Battle Royal was fun for what it was.
Oh, I love the Battle Royal.
It was, but it's a Battle Royal. Like, you're not having a 5-star Battle Royal.
No.
Right.
The women's match, I'm sorry, Sheeta versus by a Toyota.
It was okay.
No, dude.
I didn't care. Like, I'm sorry, like you can't just give me 2 really good
once
wrestlers.
Again, it goes to I can't speak for you guys on this one, but it goes to what I say about trailers or movies and all that. I've learned now as I've gotten older to lower the expectations now because when Tony Khan again came out and started saying about this and that about
we shouldn't have to lower our expectations.
I see what you're saying, but
Tony Khan should lower his own mental expectations.
Oh, I totally agree with you there.
And what he thinks these shows are, because that's the problem. He thinks that he's giving us 5-star fucking top to bottom great shows. I'm sorry, you had a tag match of Miro and Kip Sabian versus fucking the Best Friends, and that match was a complete fucking waste.
I mean, look.
Although I will say though, maybe he'll like a monster though.
Maybe when he runs the like simulation of these shows in his EWR, maybe he gets like really high ratings and he's like, okay, this is gonna work. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, the biggest problem I had, Ash should not have been on commentary for the fucking cinematic match. They were talking over the whole fucking thing because they were trying to get his reaction to what was going on.
Sort of. Only because first off, let me say this though. The commentary, it was too much in general, whether it's Taz there or not.
But a lot of it was them trying to prompt him to get answers to questions that they were asking because of what was happening to his guys. At the end of the day, half that commentary was unnecessary because it was Excalibur. Oh, what are they going to do now that Brian Cage got hit by a fucking lead pipe? Oh, what are they going to do now that Powerhouse Hobbs is there?
Yeah.
It's also right. It's weird to do live commentary on something that's clearly been filmed.
Right.
That's weird, honestly. Like, pick a lane. Either you're admitting that this was pre-taped or you're acting like it's live. And you don't have fucking David Fincher angles in your thing if it's live.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're gonna play it off as live, having Ricky Starks and Brian Cage leave in a car and 30 seconds later pull up to an abandoned building that's probably fucking 20 miles away is probably not the way to go about it. If you start the show with Taz giving them a pep talk and then they get in the car and drive to the fucking location, cool. We can play off of that. We can use live commentary. But the fact that you were like, oh, hey, we're walking to this car. Oh, hey, we're here. What?
Yeah, that was weird. I agree with you on that.
One thing I gotta say, and this is just occurring to me, it's one of those things that I felt like I've felt about AEW for a while, and now I feel like I'm putting my finger on it, literally live here. And I don't even know that AEW is the only one guilty of this. This might actually just be a general pro wrestling problem now. And maybe one of the reasons why people look back at like the Attitude Era and like the early 2000s as being really well produced TV and stuff like that, it feels like everything on AEW is very segmented. It's very like, okay, in this segment, we're getting Kenny Omega. And when this is over, we're never going to mention Kenny Omega again because now the next segment's about Miro. And when that's over, we're not going to mention Miro anymore for the rest of the show because the next segment's about the fucking Young Bucks. And it's like that. And back in the day, like you put on Raw in 1999, Steve Austin was on that show 5 different times. The storyline built over the night so that you had a reason. They don't, like I'm saying, like WWE doesn't even do that much anymore.
They would do it more. Like Lashley was involved in Raw multiple times, for example, a couple weeks ago.
And that was a really good episode of Raw because like it was like the let's get Bobby Lashley over episode of Raw, which like that made it kind of enjoyable. But like I watched SmackDown from this past week earlier today, too. Roman Reigns should be all over that fucking show. Roman Reigns was only in the last segment. That's another one of those things where it's
I think on SmackDown, I'm going to pass, though, because SmackDown's a 2-hour show, whereas Raw...
That was Dynamite.
Well, yeah. But their stars need to be all over that fucking show.
Right.
I agree with you.
But here's the thing. You never even get a clip back of like, oh, earlier tonight this happened. You don't even get like if you missed the first 15 minutes, like you missed Shaq versus Cody, like you saw Shaq get put through a table later on in a clip back. Oh damn, I missed that. All right, I need to go watch it on my DVR. I need to go find the match on YouTube. I need to go do this. I need to go do that. But like every other normal Dynamite, it's like, oh, opening of the show was Chris Jericho coming out and fucking hitting every member of fucking the 4 Horsemen with the Judas effect. You never see it again.
Right. Not till next week when it's that segment again and they have to cover what happened last week.
And I mean, that's something that, oh, there's too many clipbacks on Raw. There's too many clipbacks on Raw. No, Raw does it right because if you miss the first 15 minutes of the show, like, I get it. You don't want to see it, guy who's been watching the show live for 2.5 hours. I get it. But some random schmo literally just got home from a long day at work, turned on the fucking TV, missed the first fucking 15 minutes of Raw, just saw how we got to the main event.
Sounds like a you problem, Michael.
No,
I'm joking.
No. But there are fans out there that are going to say exactly what you just said and think that's true, because that's the problem with wrestling fans. It's me. No, it's not you. It's the bigger picture, and the bigger picture here. When we talk about jumping the shark, AEW's got 7 weeks to figure it out.
I think that's fair. You got me on board with that a little bit.
I don't know if I'll jump off the train, but
we
I
know
could.
you're not going to jump off the fucking train.
Well,
dude.
no,
We get it.
well, I've stopped watching the episodes every so often. Like I said. So
yeah, you stopped watching them because they're hot trash. They're garbage.
I enjoyed Dynamite though. I really did.
Yes, but look what it came off of.
Right.
Their worst pay-per-view. They knew that they had to go back out there and fucking try to gain some kind of relevancy back. And how do they do it? By putting on a great Dynamite. But in that same great Dynamite, they took a great promo by Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston to try to explain this whole, it exploded, it didn't explode thing. And they then just squandered it by bringing Kenny Omega and Don Callis out and just, like, shitting all over it. Like,
Yo, for real.
What are you doing?
For real.
Great
well,
promo.
I pray to God Tony Khan hears this podcast because we have given 40 minutes of information to him to use.
You know what, Tony? Next week, breaking news. Next week's show, I will give you my full double or nothing, keep me on board fucking card not as a topic. I will give it to you at the beginning of the show. I will tell you how to fucking fix it, Tony Khan. So if you're listening, or if any of your little boys are listening, feel free next week, next Thursday, first live show on Thursdays, you're going to get my card on how to fix double or nothing. Feel free to take advice.
Hashtag Take 3 Wrestling. Promo code Take 3. Yeah. Anyway, sip that bitch. All right.
If you
next
like
topic. Okay, next topic. Should we do the Pandemys next, or should we do the bracket?
Let's close with the Pandemys. Those are going to be fun.
Okay, yeah, that's a little funsy. Okay.
All right.
So,
all right, bracket time, boys and girls. It is March. We updated our brackets last week. We announced the brackets formally. We had the play-in games, had some fun there, even though Ernest was nowhere to be found because he was dealing with a child.
Playback.
So, rather than doing this in order and trying to do it all robot, have some fun with it. I've picked 4 random first-round matchups that we're going to discuss, as my phone tells me that it's about to die. So that's fun. I'm about to go get a cord here in a second. So I'm going to announce the first match that we're going to discuss. Then I'm going to get up and go get my charger so that I can charge my phone. That being said, we're going to start with a fun one from the North bracket. The 7-10 matchup between Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the Outsiders, and their first-round opponents. You'll love this one, Joe. The Pitbulls. So I'll let you guys start discussing about Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and the Pitbulls, and then I'll be back with it.
Let's be the ECW Pitbulls, not the fucking Kid Cash and Jamie Noble bullshit that WWE tried to give us. We're talking about fucking Pitbull 1 and Pitbull 2. These men were so tough they didn't need names.
Let's cut the shit here. The Outsiders helped change the industry. Okay, let's cut the shit here. No offense to the Pitbulls.
But did they?
Hall and Nash. Oh, come on now. Watch that shit in real time, dude. From May of '96.
In real time.
I did. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, honestly, okay, here's the thing. I think Hall and Nash were a fantastic tag team. I don't think they were used enough as a tag team to actually be worth as much as awesomeness as they were.
I can see a point there.
Honestly, other than a couple of matches, like against like Harlem Heat, against the Steiners and stuff, I can't even remember half of what they did. I mostly remember them not having matches because one was injured or the other one was injured. Like, their team run was actually almost more like in theory run than an actual run. So
I will say though, their tag team kind of feels like short-lived, kind of like what Adam Page and Kenny Omega was, a short-lived feud matches here and there. Now, your point you have a good point there about that. Like, other than the first year, there weren't a lot of outsider matches.
No.
All right, so some statistics now that I'm back. The Pitbulls were ECW World Tag Team Champions one time for a total of 21 days. They won the titles in a best 2 out of 3 dog collar match at Gangsta's Paradise against Raven and Steven Richards.
That's a great fucking match.
It's a really good match. I've watched that match countless times. I've watched that match a couple times. It's a really good match.
Yeah, I might go put that on after we're done with the show.
They retained the title at 2 different house shows against Dances with Dudley and Dudley, and they defeated Dino Sandoff and JT Smith before losing the titles back to Raven and Steven Richards at Hardcore TV episode 131 from the ECW arena. That was their only World Tag title run in ECW. They did have title runs in like APWF. They were the NWA United States champions for about 80 days. They were the SAPW World Tag Champs twice. So while theirs isn't based off of titles, those guys had a lot of really good matches in ECW. So the dog collar match that me and Joe mentioned, pretty fucking good match.
I kind of feel like
upset.
I kind of feel like, well, I'm going to say this about the Pitbulls. I feel like if they existed about 10 years earlier, they could have been as big as, maybe not as big as the Road Warriors, because Lord knows those guys went into the next stratosphere, but they could have at least been one of those like Powers and Pain kind of teams, or, one of those teams that like was big, because of like just the look that they had and the power that they had. I think they would have fit in the NWA circa like 1985 like nobody's business. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they existed in 1994 and it was in ECW instead. So maybe it's not something that was the most seen. Maybe it's not something that was the most remembered. I personally love them as a team, but I do understand that Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, like historically speaking, might be the bigger team overall.
I didn't know that there was a ECW show called December to Dismember, except for the WWE ECW, but ECW actually had a show by that name.
Really?
That featured the Ultimate Jeopardy cage match. That was the Pitbulls, the Public Enemy, and Tommy Dreamer versus Raven, the Eliminators, the Heavenly Bodies.
And
no, that was it. It was Raven.
I was waiting for you to say Brian Lee, just because.
No, that was a couple months later that they.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, they were also in a match called Rumble Games at a ECW event in Flagstaff.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So the Pitbulls had some fun matches. They also had a good match against RVD and Sabu that I think was on an episode of Hardcore TV.
Yeah.
They were a team that like they were almost like the team that didn't need the titles because they were just gonna have fun matches. Okay, we'll keep you muted then. So how's it fucking gonna work? Because the guy is leaving when we gotta fucking vote for the fucking match. What the fuck are we doing here? Oh Jesus! All right. We'll talk about the Outsiders and their history before we go to the votes. They were TNA World Tag Team Champions together for 41 days as the Band.
Really?
Yes, from April 5th of 2010 to April 4th of 2010 to June 14th.
Okay, I have a real question for you that you might be able to tell fast, though.
Okay.
How many actual successful title defenses did they have when they were WCW Tag Team Champions?
I'll look it up right now. Hold on. I have Cage Match open, so I can actually look and see how many successful runs they had.
Okay.
So they won the title at Impact episode 306 in a 2-on-1 handicap match against Matt Morgan.
Okay.
They then defeated...
That's the most TNA thing I've heard all night.
They defeated Inc. at Sacrifice 2010, and then Kevin Nash was out, so Eric Young filled in. It was Eric Young and Scott Hall defeated Matt Morgan in a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Fucking Inc. was like Shannon Moore and somebody.
Jesse Neal.
Thank you.
Okay. They had a total of 6 world title runs in WCW.
Are you serious?
6 runs. Hold on, I gotta get a piece of paper so I can write this down. All right. So in their first defense, or their first run, they won the titles.
Shocked.
They won the titles from Harlem Heat. They had 5 successful title runs, 5 defenses. Now here's the fun part. 3 of them were on WCW Saturday Night.
Which is the equivalent of like all the wins on AEW Dark.
They had two pay-per-view defenses, 0 on Nitro in their first run.
Are we still on Pitbulls and Outsiders?
Yes, because we were wasting time. So
you walked away, so we couldn't vote.
The fuck. The Outsiders in their second title run had 2 successful title defenses against the same team, Ace Starling and Devin Storm.
I mean, legends.
So what we're doing right now is Joe wanted to see how many title defenses
that. You know what, that was really to kill time. Ernest is back. Let's vote.
All right, I'm in. I'll let you guys vote first on this one because I think I know what's going to end up happening here.
Outsiders, come on, dude.
You want me to vote next?
Yeah.
Go Pitbulls.
You know, I was really confident in my vote, and then you said the Outsiders were WCW champions 6 times. I can't ignore that to the one run that the Pitbulls had. Like, I agree with you that the Pitbulls didn't necessarily ever that confused the shit out of me just now when you did that. I was
see it?
high for that.
Screen?
You cannot add fucking technology to this.
Why?
Okay.
Wait, you don't see Pitbulls? You don't see it?
I do. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't ready for that.
Hi.
So
we're learning on the go, Joseph.
So I'm gonna vote for Hall and Nash. I am. I think that's the right call. Unfortunately, I love the Pitbulls, but I'm gonna go for Hall and Nash.
Okay.
All right. Well, I was gonna vote for Hall and Nash anyways. So I now want to see how many defenses they had. This is a fun game. We'll finish that later. All right. So I think the only thing we really should be doing here next is going to who they'll face in the second round. It's the 215 matchup. It is the Hart Foundation of Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Bret Hart. What?
How do I see you guys again? I'm looking at fucking someone's like.
That's Ernest. That's Ernest being an idiot.
Sorry.
Fuckface. Put this back on. There you go.
There we go. And their opponent.
It's still not Sabu.
I was trying to show you guys porn, but never mind.
Wow.
I'm here for you.
You and I do not watch the same porn. I promise you that.
That's obvious.
Stop.
Stop what?
You know who Sean Cody is.
Porn?
Stop. This is going way left. There's a whole new definition of tag team going on in this topic.
Yeah.
And it's not that.
Joe's fucking up Mike right now. Mike's brain's like, what the fuck are we doing here?
No, I know what we're doing. I'm trying to stop you before you go down the rabbit hole you don't want to.
You don't roll.
Is that Lars Sullivan?
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
Let me share a Lars Sullivan picture, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not laughing at yours. I'm laughing at Joe's.
Thug Bros. Wasn't that the
so
site?
good.
Wasn't it fucking Thug Bros?
Something like that. Oh my god, that's so bad. You're the worst. Hold on, I gotta fucking find RVD and Sabu. Because speaking of Sabu, the Hart Foundation's first round matchup is against Rob Van Dam and Sabu.
Oh man.
This one might be the toughest first round matchup.
Really? Think so?
Oh yeah, dude.
You're not an ECW fan, so you're just like fucking Hart Foundation, obviously.
No, how do you know that? How do you know that, buddy?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Damn, Joe, get in there. Let them know you're here.
Look, I watched a really spicy episode of Drag Race earlier.
Listeners there? There's Sabu and RPD. Right there.
Yes. Thank you for showing what they look like to the 5 people who had no idea.
He had to see who they were. He doesn't even know who they are.
He doesn't know who they are.
Man. I know who they are. Come on.
He doesn't even know the guy.
I know who they are.
So who are you voting for? Hart Foundation.
Still, because I'm a mark.
That's obvious. Glad you fucking know.
Who are you voting for?
Do they have Neidhart's beard? Come on now, dude. Let's go.
Why did it say Hart Foundation 2.0? I'm trying to bring up the fucking statistic. No. What the fuck is this? What in the absolute hell is going on right now?
Like, look, I'm going to say it, right? Hart Foundation is a legendary tag team. There's no two ways about that. Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, incredible team. And, like, honestly, one of the pillars of the tag team wrestling in the 1980s in WWF, hands down. Here's the problem. Vince McMahon, since the beginning of all time, has hated tag team pro wrestling, including in the 80s. So being the pillars of the tag team division in WWF in the 1980s is worth about as much as GameStop stock, in about a week and a half. So, Rob Van Dam and Sabu were kind of incredible in ECW, and I almost feel really bad about having not voted for an ECW tag team in the last one. So I'm going to actually let Mike have to break this tie. I'm going to vote for RVD and Sabu in this one.
All right, so when you look at RVD and Sabu, they had 2 ECW world title runs for a total of 244 days compared to the Hart Foundation's title runs. They had 2 as well for 483 days. Here's the thing, though. Back then, title changes didn't happen as frequently as they did in ECW in the 90s. The Hart Foundation had a couple of good matches as tag team champions. I wouldn't necessarily say any of them were great tag matches.
I'll tell you what, that SummerSlam 90 match with Demolition is pretty good, though.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sure.
That's a great match. No, you're right.
But were they tag champs or were Demolition tag champs?
Demolition were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Match,
they didn't really. Okay, so they didn't have the title.
And also, that was the match where Axton wrestled because he was hurt, and Crush they did the whole 3,
Oh, nice. Freebird rule.
Yeah.
I, for one, would like to congratulate Ernest on unarguing his own argument. That was impressive.
All right.
I love that for you.
Let's be real here. On paper, every person that's going to listen to this show thinks that this is a slam dunk for the Hart Foundation, and I don't think they're right. I think you have to remember that at this time, they went through, Rob Van Dam and RVD went through probably the toughest tag team in wrestling history in Bubba and Devon very frequently. And that's whenever these guys were hitting people in the head with stop signs.
Yeah.
It didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They had good matches, if not great matches, with the Eliminators and the Gangstas and the Dudleys, the FBI even. Fucking who fucking knew they could get a good match out of Little Guido Maritano and fucking Tracy Smothers at 75 years old? But fucking somehow RVD and Rob Van Dam did it. So with that being said, I'm going to have the first bracket breaking pick. I'm going to move on Rob Van Dam and Sabu.
Okay. So each week we're doing different sections of the bracket, right? 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm gonna move to something in the South. I'm gonna do something from the North, something from the South each bracket. Okay. So that's the North bracket. So moving on to the bottom portion of the North bracket, you have the Outsiders. They'll take on RVD and Sabu in the second round. Go to the South bracket.
Good matchup.
Go to the South bracket. I want to start with one that I feel is going to be a lot of fun to discuss. You just mentioned them. Axe, Smash, Crush, Demolition. Their first round matchup is against none other than Farouk and Bradshaw, the APA.
Oh my God. That's a fucking, oh boy.
No, this is easy. It's Demolition. All right, continue.
Really? Is it really that easy?
No, I mean, look, again, it's like I was saying about APA, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever we were talking about, like, them versus...
The Ron Simmons episode.
Yeah. I think APA was a great tag team. I think that they were a great tag team that weren't really wrestling a lot of great tag teams. And it's weird because they existed around the same time as a lot of great tag teams, but there are no legendary APA versus Edge and Christian matches. There are no legendary APA versus Hardy Boys matches. There's no, none of that really is out there that people are like, oh my God, these were incredible. They were a great team. They were a great act, but they're not the team that you necessarily look back on and say, oh, they had this great match and that great match and that great title reign and all that. I think you can do that with Demolition. I think you just did that with Demolition. So for that reason alone, like I think Demolition, like, yes, granted, tag team wrestling in WWF, as I said, never the biggest deal. So that kind of gives it a little bit of a but they were still a pretty incredible tag team, and they did it while a lot of people could have potentially just looked at them and written them off as Road Warrior ripoffs, and that would have been
Which
the
they
end
did,
of
by the
it.
way.
What?
Back then.
Right. And like that's the thing, like if you were like me, or I think even you, and grew up with WWF and didn't know the NWA, when you saw the Road Warriors for the first time, you were just like, who the fuck are these Demolition ripoffs? So I mean, like it really goes depends on how you look at it. If you were a WWF fan and you knew Demolition first, they were a fucking awesome tag team. They were always one of my favorites as a kid. I'm happy to vote for them right now.
Let me say this real quick. As someone who actually, especially watched in real time when they peaked out in '88 and they won the titles in WrestleMania 4, their run at the top was short. It was just 3 years, '88 to '90.
Yeah.
But those 2.5 years were, in terms of booking, they were probably the most dominant tag team probably in those 2 decades, because think about the way they were booked. They were booked as monsters, unstoppable monsters.
WWF.
They came in, this build up into Mania 4, they destroyed Strike Force. Even when they broke up with Fuji, they were still dominant. They got the titles back, all that. So they were booked as this monster, all-time great tag team. Like on the now, I'm not saying they're better than the Road Warriors / Legion of Doom. They're not. But what I'm saying is that the way they were presented and the way they sustained for 2.5 years, it was as though there was as legendary and as big as that group. So
and they did it all while dressed like really cheap S&M porn models.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The
promos were pretty good, also obviously too. Like I said, they weren't great in the ring, but they had great angles too. Some of the feuds are phenomenal. I love some of the feuds. I gotta give Demolition, man. Demolition was dominant for me as a child, from 8 to 10 years old. They were, to me, the dominant tag team of the generation. So it's Demolition for me also.
Would you vote for them too, Mike, or would you have gone the other way?
I probably would have voted for them as well, but I think it's a lot closer than what you guys have it as.
Fair.
No, I don't think it's actually a wide margin. I think what AP has over Demolition now, as I said, is the longevity factor.
But I don't think they have the longevity factor, because if you remember, Ron Simmons and Bradshaw really didn't become a team until the Acolytes in the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah.
And then,
but they were a team
and then by
5 years, right?
I mean, that's not really, quote, longevity in tag team wrestling.
But how long were Axe and Smash a team? They were a team longer than that.
3 years, really.
Wow, really?
87
technically, 87. And then they really ended in 91, but after they lost to SummerSlam 90.
By 90, yeah.
It's so weird because it really felt like they were around forever. That's crazy.
But they weren't, though. They weren't.
Yeah.
But they were booked as, like I said, that the 3-year window, they were booked as the tippy top tag team.
You know, it's funny because I feel like it's one of those things where, like, now when teams just kind of stick around way too long, and, like, you think back to your childhood and you're like, oh, but Demolition was a team forever. And then, right, like, you do the research and you're like, no, they were a team for 3 years. So then when you look and you're like, okay, but no, like, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode have literally been a tag team for, like, 5 years now. Like, wait a second, I'm not crazy. This is too long.
That's why I kind of appreciate the New Day. That they can still reinvent themselves, still be relevant after all this time. Teams like that.
Yeah.
All
right. Next one.
All right. The next one, as I'm trying to bring up the information on it, Joe's going to love this one. I can already tell you that he's going to be a big fan of this one. It is the 6-11 matchup. It is between the 6 seed, the Eliminators, John Cronus, Perry Saturn, and a team we just kind of mentioned, Strike Force.
My selection too. By the way, I know for a fact that I'm the one that picked them in the presentation of tag teams. So don't know really too much. I mean, I obviously know who Perry Saturn is, but don't know too much about the Eliminators. Strike Force, I don't know, because they really lasted for maybe a year, because they won the tag titles in late '87, lost to Demolition in '88, Mania 4. They broke up. No, they didn't break up. They didn't do shit for a year because Martel was hurt. They come back, do a return match in Mania 5, and break up in the middle of Mania 5, and then they were done.
Yeah.
So it's hard to really give them much kudos. Again, they won a title in '87, but it was 5-month reign. That was it. So, give me some stats and eliminators, Mike, if you don't mind.
3-time ECW World Tag Team Champions.
They win. Next question. Go ahead.
Had the titles for a total of 335 days. Their first reign, they had, 21 successful title defenses, including house shows and pay-per-views and TV tapings. Their second title reign was an 85-day reign. They had 20 successful title defenses in the same thing, because you know that they were doing all those hardcore TV tapings all at one time. And then their last reign was a 68-day reign. They won the titles from the Dudleys at Barely Legal 97 before dropping them in a 2-on-1 handicap match where it was Bubba and Devon versus John Cronus, because I think Perry Saturn was gone at this point.
That sounds
or he'd gotten hurt. The last title match that they had together as champions was WrestlePalooza 97. They defeated the Dudleys of Bubba and Devon. Cronus defended the titles twice against the FBI in handicap matches before dropping it back to the Dudleys in a handicap match, a 4-minute and 15-second match. Obviously, to probably just get the Dudley Boys the titles back because Saturn was gone. I don't think there's any way that I'm not voting for Cronus and Saturn here.
Exactly.
These guys, and here's the thing: like, even when they weren't tag champs, their matches with the Gangstas and the Dudleys, and even like Raven and Stevie, I think they even had a decent match with the Pitbulls, RVD and Sabu. I think they got in there with a couple times. So I think like this is something where, like, if you look up you put 4 guys in the ring together that are gonna have a dynamite match, give me RVD, Sabu, Cronus, and Saturn, and I think like you'd be striking matches to the fire every time, and I think that's something that is a big thing, and I think that this is something that Cronus and Saturn have a shot here to bust a lot of brackets and make a deep run. Because when you really go into these guys' title runs, like, I'm going to bring more information when we get into the second round. I didn't want to go all heavy on the stats
Hold back,
early
because I see a clean sweep here coming.
I was going to say we should give Ernest some matches of theirs to actually go check out, because I think you'd be a fan, to be honest. I mean, look,
I might have seen him before in the past, because Saturn.
He's going to have to find time before Peacock takes over the network.
I mean, just fucking pause Royal Rumble 2020 and put on an ECW show. You'll be so happy.
Good, dude, you fucker. It's so good.
I mean, yeah, sure.
On this day, I see clearly.
Yeah. So is a 7-minute title match between the Eliminators and the Dudley Boys.
No, I mean, there's no way. Again, Strike Force wasn't together long enough to even. The fact that even on the bracket actually is fucking kind of a miracle, honestly.
Their first title match victory happened at ECW Big Apple Blizzard Blast on February 3rd of 96. They defeated the tag team of Cactus Jack and Mikey Whipwreck.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
All right.
That's a clean sweep. So in the South bracket, moving on are both Demolition and the Eliminators. That's going to be a fun one to talk about in a couple weeks.
That's some research there.
Yeah, it really is.
I'll be putting in some work. So first 4 matchups are done. Outsiders and RVD and Sabu move on, as do Demolition and the Eliminators.
Great. Is it time? Is it time for the Pandemys?
Is it?
I think that's the last topic we got, guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited. Mike, make it happen.
Hold on.
This fucking guy.
Hello, everybody. It is me. I am your host, Mike Bernier. Welcome to the first and hopefully only ever Pandemys. I'm joined by the astute panel here at the Pandemy Awards of Joseph Lopez. That fucker over there, Ernest, he's here somewhere. He did nothing to help me with this. Joe at least helped me with the topics.
What do we do?
Joe and me did this in 35 minutes as I drove home from Orlando.
Yeah, we were texting each other like, here's an idea.
How was that
Here's
work?
a topic.
Dude, I worked 8 hours, had 1 break the entire fucking day.
That's why they have a notepad in your phone.
All right, let's go to it. I want to hear this.
All right. We have a astute, fun pandemic version here. As I'm getting yelled at by my wife for being really loud, so I'm going to have to tone that one down a little bit.
All right, Carol.
All right, we have 11 awards. Yeah, we have 11 awards to announce tonight, and let's hop right into it with award number 1, fan of the pandemic season. And without further ado, the winner for myself is the big giant ceiling fan that got to witness WrestleMania at the Performance Center.
That is WWE's biggest fan. I mean, there's no denying that.
Ernest, do you have any doubt that that was the biggest fan?
Without question, the biggest fan.
All right. This one is a Joe Lopez exclusive, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I didn't know they still had catering during the pandemic award for the least used wrestler of the pandemic era. Me and Joe had a brief conversation about that today. He mentioned Aleister Black. The name I brought up was Andrade. Do you have anyone else that you'd like to nominate for this topic before we discuss who is going to win the first ever Pandemic?
I would have said Kevin Owens before fucking December because he went under the radar for a little while, but the Roman angle kind of changed that. I would say Kevin Owens, the peak.
Here's the thing. But here's the thing, though. There's a lot of guys that you can't include on this. Like Sami Zayn's another one that they didn't use. That's because Sami couldn't get into the country.
Right.
Like, it wasn't that they weren't using him. It was that they didn't have the accessibility to him.
Like,
that's why
Aleister Black's been there the whole time, and no one can really explain why he hasn't been on TV in the last, since October?
Yeah.
Like 5 months?
They're still trying to figure out, why the budget for all the fruit keeps going up. It's because Aleister's eating it all.
Right.
He's sitting there doing nothing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
No, Aleister's my pick. I don't understand it. First of all, apparently, Zelina Vega's firing had the biggest, ripple down effect because her husband's in catering. The guy she used to manage is in catering. Fucking, I don't know who used to do her makeup, but I feel like that girl doesn't have a job anymore either.
This is worse than 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yo, for real.
Ooh, for realsy.
Yeah, but no, Aleister Black is my pick because that man should be at the very least main eventing NXT right now.
Someday,
and he's literally doing nothing.
Who are you voting for, Ernest?
I'll go Aleister Black. Fuck that, dude. I agree, 100%.
Aleister, the winner of the first ever I didn't know they still had catering during a pandemic award, goes to Aleister Black. Congratulations, Aleister.
Do you think the next time we actually see him on TV will be in AEW or ROH or something?
No, there'll be a backstage segment where he's sitting and catering after they listen to this show.
Yeah.
Next up is one that you could actually mention, the aforementioned names that we just talked about. The Riho Award. For those that could not travel during the pandemic and could have been bigger things had they been able to actually make it across the borders. Obviously, we've had some names brought up in the last topic that you could discuss. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Pac, Riho herself, if you want to talk about a short Asian woman. But yeah, that's not really my style right now. I think I'm going to go, and honestly, just because of what he's done since he's come back, I know it's not Kevin Owens. I think it's Sami Zayn. Sami's been great since he's been back. And if he'd been doing this for even longer, I think it would have been even funner with the whole crew following him around and the filming and the I'm better than you stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's something where I think if we would have had that during the pandemic and while we were stuck at home, it'd been fun to see watch Sammy randomly driving around on a golf cart with a mask on with his camera crew, as he's trying to get away from some random strangers walking up to him with no mask. Just random things that Sammy could have done that would have been entertaining. So my vote for the Riho Award will go to Sami Zayn.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
All right.
My vote is someone who still isn't over here. I feel like he would have been over here by now if it wasn't for the pandemic. But they finally got his brand up and running again, so at least he's still doing something, and that's Walter. Right before the pandemic started, they were very clearly starting to build a Walter Finn Balor feud over the European, not the European title, Jesus Christ, the NXT UK Championship. So that obviously was at the very least going to be a takeover match, probably that WrestleMania weekend. It was going to be a big deal. And I think that Walter, look, that man is a gigantic star in the making. I think by now he'd be a major part of NXT, the main brand here in America, If not, maybe even already be over on Raw or SmackDown. I could see it. He's got all of the right tools to be huge. He's just stuck in the UK right now. So I think that, I think he is definitely one of those people whose push was completely and utterly ruined by the pandemic.
Well, we see that Imperium is here. So how long before we get the leader of Imperium here? And I think it's sooner rather than later.
Hopefully. But Imperium has been here since almost the start, too.
Well, you had Barthel and Eichner. We just got Alexander Wolf back.
Right.
Right during the Dusty Rhodes Classic. I think the problem with Walter is they got to get the title off of him to get him back to the States.
Right.
And I don't know if there's anybody on that roster right now that's ready to take that from him. So I think that might be what they're kind of stuck on. Barring them getting somebody or moving somebody from the NXT roster. I mean, honestly, if Finn loses the title to Karrion at TakeOver and then Finn beats Walter at whatever for the title, and then you put Finn over there in the UK for a couple months until you can build up somebody, or maybe Jordan Devlin comes over, loses to Santos Escobar, and then you have Jordan Devlin win the title and be the face of the NXT division, UK division. I don't know. I think Tyler Bates, another guy that you could put the title on for a couple months and make it make sense if you really needed Walter over here. But I think what's been stopping them is they haven't needed Walter over here yet, for the big picture. But Ernest, your selection.
Mine is actually Pac on AEW.
Nice.
He was having some great matches prior to the COVID. I met a match with Omega, the Iron Man match, for example. Phenomenal match. It's forgotten now because it's been so long, but like, I'm not saying who had a rocket strip strapped to him, whatever, but he was one of those guys that, yeah, obviously you have Moxley at the time. Jericho was, obviously was the champion at the time, and you had those top guys. But then Pac was right there, and as evident now. We went to the list, the rankings right now. He's number one contender.
Right.
So he was one of those guys that I think would have benefited heavily had he just was able to, go through this whole pandemic, not being stuck in England, obviously. So, that's my guy. I think Pac he's fantastic. Yeah, so.
All right, so we have our first co-winners. It'll go to Walter, Pac, and of course Sami Zayn. Next up,
and not Rio.
What's funny? Honestly, I as silly as I am, I might have picked her. If you didn't mention her name with the title of the fucking topic, I might have said Rio. But Pac, even though
there was a method to my madness.
Exactly. Fuck you, man.
All right, this one is: which company invested its stimulus checks into Bitcoin, aka which company rebounded the best during the pandemic?
Can we go brand as opposed to company?
Sure. If you want,
okay.
Sure. I don't.
I think SmackDown bounced back in a big way. By the middle to end of 2020. I remember last year, this time, well, not this time, but around the summertime when Roman was out, before Roman came back, shitting on both Raw and SmackDown. I was literally watching just NXT and AEW on a weekly basis, and I watched the highlights of SmackDown and Raw. And then August comes around, Roman's back. Well, first off, actually, they were having good matches. AJ was the IC champion or whatever. And then once Roman got back in there, SmackDown just fucking took off.
Yeah.
Just took off. And it's arguably one of the best shows on television right now. So I think SmackDown is a show that really, really had the big bounce, Bitcoin, if you will, effect.
I totally see that argument. For me, it would be Ring of Honor. I think that they picked up a lot of the momentum that they were starting to build right before the pandemic in a big way. And that was the thing, actually, I mentioned it earlier in the show. You might not have been here at the time, Ernest, but, I was a huge Ring of Honor fan from the very beginning in 2002. And then I kind of fell out of it about maybe around 2013 or so. And I never really went back to it. I would try every once in a while, and it just wouldn't be my thing. The whole era where the Bullet Club was the main attraction there, just not my thing with Ring of Honor. But But then I started to get into it a little bit right before the pandemic happened because they were starting to tease a little bit of the like old school 2002 like Code of Honor style Ring of Honor wrestling, getting back to like the pure rules and the pure title and all that. And when they were finally able to do shows again during this pandemic, I think it was back in like October or so that they finally started to make a comeback. They picked up where they left off in a big way. And they've had some great matches, some great feuds. I'm extremely excited for the anniversary show that's coming up in like a week or two. So they get my vote because honestly, they could have very easily have not come back at all from the pandemic, or they very easily could have come back in a way where it's like, I don't even know what you're doing. Like the NWA. The NWA is coming back, and I don't even know, like there's like 5 people on their roster at this point. I don't know what to expect from them. When Ring of Honor came back, they still had all of the elements that had me excited about them going into the pandemic. So that's why I'm there with them right now.
Yeah, I'm with Joe. My pick is also for Ring of Honor. They did a lot of things the right way. They did a lot of things the smart way. They didn't rush into having shows right away. They've done really good with their talent about quarantining them in their own, hotel rooms for however many days and making them pass tests. And anyone that, doesn't pass a test doesn't wrestle, and it happened where Final Battle got kind of shooken up because EC3 tested positive. I think Dragon Lee also tested positive. They lost a couple of really big matches. And you know what they did instead? They went out there and they still put on a pretty good show.
Hell yeah.
So my pick is going to be Ring of Honor as well, because I think that they've brought themselves back to the forefront here of being basically in that second tier with Impact as the next things in professional wrestling. I mean, obviously you have AEW, you have WWE, you have New Japan. Then you have that second tier where it's like Noah, Impact,
MLW.
Yeah. And I think they're right back into that discussion. And I know MLW at one point was kind of like taking over Ring of Honor's spot as like the best indie promotion and being ran a certain way. And I think Ring of Honor kind of saw that and they kind of snatched their ball back and said, "Not so fast, my friend." And have kind of decided to establish themselves back in the trenches there. So I definitely give Ring of Honor the vote there.
Yeah.
Next up, the 5th award of the Pandemys.
How many are there?
11 total.
Okay.
Number 5, biggest surprise. I'm going to start this one, and it is the return of the Ring of Honor Pure title. It had a excellent tournament that was won by the Foundation's Jonathan Gresham. He went through stable compadre Tracy Williams in the semis and then defeated, I believe, Jay Lethal in the finals, correct?
Yeah, something like that.
So he went through 2 of his teammates to get the pure title. For those of you that don't know the Pure rules, 3 rope breaks. Anything after 3, they don't have to break. So you use your 3 rope breaks super quick. It doesn't mean that the pinfall gets stopped and submission gets broken if you get to the ropes. Like you got to go through it. No close fist. If you do, it's a disqualification. Stuff like that. So they even brought in the Pure tag team rules, which I think has been fun. Like if you can only break up 3 pin attempts or submission attempts, and they count as your rope breaks and stuff like that. So, like it's a really cool concept that I like that Ring of Honor's done. So I guess my biggest surprise is they brought back the Pure rules, and I'm actually really excited for it.
Nice. So for me, I think the biggest surprise has been the fact that Roman Reigns is finally a heel. Because it felt like that thing, like with John Cena, where we were never going to get it. Where we were all kind of like, please just give it to us. This would work so well. We know it. We see it. You're shoving Roman Reigns down our throat, and we want to boo him. Like, you can make this work, and he's such a natural heel. And I thought we were never going to get it. And then the pandemic happened, and I guess WWE was just like, fuck it. What do we have to lose trying it right now? So
I think the best reason why that got over was because there was no kids in the crowd to still chant for him.
Yeah, no, exactly. As I'm saying,
I think the fact that they have no fans is what just made it so easy to pull the trigger.
Exactly.
This is going to make WrestleMania so compelling. How the real reactions going to be now? At least.
He's still going to get booed.
Yeah, but now
they've built Edge up. This is going to be the first Mania that there's going to be a live crowd to cheer Edge's entrance. Edge is definitely going to get cheered going into that match.
And let's be clear, even if Roman Reigns was a face, he was probably going to get booed. So at least now it fits. Like at least now when he's getting booed, he can look at all of us and be like, "Go fuck yourselves."
Well, that was my answer too. And the fact that he turned and they committed to it, and they committed to it in a big way.
Yes, I agree.
All right, so the best surprise is the Roman Reigns heel turn. Yeah. Number 6, best social distanced crowd award.
Okay.
Basically, I think this one has been more of a play on like, who do we think like, oh, we're not watching this show anymore? Like, oh, not only fans not going, we're not even watching it.
I thought this was more about the audiences, like in the crowds, like the AEW.
Like who did it better, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We can make it that too. I don't give a shit. Do this on the fly. It's the Pandemys, dude. What the fuck?
Which to me, the best crowd is the NXT extras and the fucking the CWC or whatever they call it. I love them because they legitimately look like they're not quite sure why they're there. They look more confused than TNA audience members circa 2008.
Well, the thing is, they're not actual extras anymore. They're actual fans that are at the CWC.
Really?
Yes. If you know Izzy, the girl, she's been at a couple of NXT shows since they've gone to the CWC. Like I think it's like a very small group of tickets get released. I know they do have some NXT wrestlers working there as extras. Yeah. But my favorite was the Monday Night Raw and the SmackDown crowds when it was all the NXT wrestlers. Like you'd watch them wrestle on like NXT on Wednesday night, and then to be in the crowd like doing the Bernie to like the New Day's theme. They'd just be sitting there doing the fucking Bernie, and I'm like, yeah, let's go this guy. So yeah, I think that gets my vote.
Not to sound like a mark, but AEW Dynamite's crowd. I thought they were really creative with it early on.
They're only cool whenever they all sing Jericho's theme song.
Can we point out?
I'll too know. Like MJF taking bets and stuff. That was pretty cool.
You know, I saw a meme point out the other day that at one point very early on, MJF was taking bets with Sean Spears and Tully Blanchard. If they somehow fucking connect that in a promo next week, like I'm so with it.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, so we have co-winners. We have the CWC, the extras on Raw and SmackDown, and the AEW roster. Number 7, this one is going to tie into that topic as well.
Oh,
best arena.
Ooh,
the Capitol Center. What the fuck the NXT is doing?
No, I'm gonna give you my pick. Okay, I mean like good pick, whatever. My pick. The fucking stadium where the Jacksonville Jaguars play, where we got that fucking awesome match between the Inner Circle and whoever else was there fighting. Yes, and the Elite. The fucking the whole stadium brawl. That was awesome. And honestly, kudos to Tony Khan in that situation for using what he's got that WWE didn't have, which was a fucking football stadium. Like, honestly, it's weird. They should have had the fucking match with the explosions, too, but what do I know?
They also had a match there where Matt Hardy almost died, and they kept the match going on for some fucking
That's
reason.
right.
I'll actually go with Ernest. I'm going to go with the CWC. I like what they've done with that. So the best arena of the pandemic is the Capitol Wrestling Center.
Do you think that when the pandemic is, like, I'm not going to say over. I feel weird saying over. But when it's more settled down, things are a little bit more back to normal. Do you think that they're going to go back to Full Sail, or do you think they're going to try to keep the whole CWC? Maybe even just transfer it to Full Sail? But
I can see that. I can see them transferring it. I don't know.
Because that look is so cool to me. Like, yeah, you get rid of the video screens, but I kind of like the gate around the ring and all that. Yeah. It's a very cool vibe.
Yeah, I like it too. Next up. Number 8 is the best injury to describe a pandemic.
What?
Best injury to describe a pandemic.
Yes. Pandemics suck. What else sucks? Rey Mysterio having his eyeball dislodged from his face in an eye versus eye match. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
All right, well, I'm going extremely current and topical. What must suck is having PTSD to the level where sparklers make you pass out. Eddie Kingston, I'm so sorry. And I will hug you the next time I see you, but you got to promise not to stab me.
I was going to go with Mike's Mysterio eyeball thing from fucking last year, but God, that was good. That was good. I'm going to go with Joe's.
All right,
that shit's fucking...
The winner of the pandemic is the PTS Eddie.
Yes.
All right, this one should be a fun one. Joe and me talked about this one a little bit at length. The 9th award that we're giving out is the Better Than the Stupid Dickhead That Used to Have the Dick Gimmick Award. We're going to name this the Joey Ryan Scumbag Award, where we were going to name it for the biggest scumbag, but we decided to not mention his name other than that description right there. So we're going to give it to someone who we think has actually done good during the pandemic and has been better than that stupid dickhead with the stupid dick gimmick.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Anyone
so
want
who
to
you
go
giving
first?
it to?
You go first.
Oh, what the fuck, man?
Wait,
all right,
that's an easy one. Wait, I'll give you my person. I'm gonna cut you off. All right, I'm gonna give it to Pete Dunne, who was one of the more outspoken guys over in the UK scene during the whole call out thing. And obviously, you know, considering how much of that scene really was involved in it and how kind of scummy it was, and even some guys that we all really liked a lot are kind of not okay anymore. The fact that Pete Dunne, who is an incredible wrestler, who doesn't have to be involved in any of this, he doesn't have to be a leader, he doesn't have to do that. He can get by just being a talent. He steps up and says, no, I'm going to be a leader. I know what's right and wrong. We need people like that. So you know what, Pete Dunne? Like, honestly, you're fucking awesome. I love you. No homo, even though I am.
I'll go next because the one that you brought it to the attention with Pete. Another guy who really stepped up and took ownership for other people's mistakes that he didn't have to, and really was a guy that said, "Hey, if you need me, I'm here." And that's Eddie. Eddie Kingston did that too.
Yeah.
He really came out and said, "I should have done more. This is on me." And there's a lot of people that had to come to Eddie and tell him, "Eddie, you've done a lot for all of us. Like you don't like." Sure, you were in Chikara, you knew about Quack. Like, yeah, you may have been able to, do something, but that person is that person. Like, you're not going to change that person. And Eddie, I think took that one a little bit super personal, and I don't think Eddie should have, because I don't think that's Eddie's fault. But Eddie was very vocal about, if you need me, I'm here. If you need me to go talk with you to someone, I'm here. I'm helping. Whatever you guys need me to do, and I'm sorry. And I a lot of people had to come to Eddie's defense and tell Eddie, you don't have to apologize. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, we appreciate the sympathy, but like, Eddie, you've done more for us than a lot of people have ever. So, War King, last of the dying breed. Holla at him.
Yeah, I'll pick back on that one. I was going to pick back on Joe's, but you made a great case for Eddie.
I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with either of those guys.
Right.
I'm gonna give it to we'll give it to both of them. Because Pete definitely deserves a lot of credit. Because I sent Joe a lot of stuff when everything started about Pete just not hiding, not being, oh, I'm not going to respond to these people on social media. He was out there hammering.
Yeah.
Fucking the minute that the first guy got accused, that he didn't turn his back on. I didn't know about this, but we're gonna make sure it doesn't happen anymore. So you got to give both of those guys a ton of credit. So we'll co-champion them for that award. Kudos to both of those guys in that situation. Number 10, biggest company letdown of the pandemic.
Ooh.
Oh boy. I'll go brand here also. Like, part of me wants to say Dynamite to some degree because they've gone a little dry the last couple months. But I think it's Raw. I think Raw has been, and it could be because they're too long and not enough people on the roster. I don't know what it is, but they've really been the most stale from pillar to post, from March to March. If we took the four biggest brands, who's been not to say they've all been bad, but who's been the worst quote unquote brand of the four? Raw has been kind of most of the way.
I kind of agree with you. I think they probably be my bottom ranked one.
I think SmackDown was kind of a throwaway until Roman came back.
Yes,
but even
he's
you
been
said
back since
but
like August.
this is why I disagree with you.
The end of August, so it's been like
No,
September
but
to
even
March.
before August too, and I think Mike, you made a point about this too. They were having even before Roman came back. There was no clear cut number one guy. You could argue AJ was carrying the brand for a couple months as the IC champion. Yeah. And as you said too, also Mike, I remember you saying this on the podcast back last summer. They were having great matches. They were at least fun to watch leading into Roman's.
I mean, just because they're fun to watch doesn't mean that they were that great. I mean, the thing that I think I still stick my teeth into is that we talk about the most overactive they've had the last 6 months wasn't even there for the first 6 months of the pandemic.
Right.
I mean, Drew McIntyre's was there from the beginning to the end. Yeah, he missed a couple weeks because he had COVID. But he didn't opt out. He sat there. He fucking won the world title. He was probably the most over guy on Raw for the last year. And I think the guy deserves a ton of credit. I mean,
of course.
they had great matches left and right.
That's the rule, of course. He's also the exception because load.
Can you redescribe the topic to me again?
Biggest company letdown.
So okay,
I'm going to go with something that a certain company did. I'm going to tell you and I'll let you go, and then I'll
sure.
close with mine. I'm saying mine is going to be what a certain company did with a certain angle or feud or event. I think was a letdown.
So I'll go with something that was stolen from us by the pandemic. And that makes it a letdown because I think that it could have been an incredible moment. It's still a big moment. It would have been off the charts. Like, it would have been one of those moments that they show every year in video packages that I don't know that it's going to be that. And that's Drew McIntyre winning the title at WrestleMania. If that had been in front of a live crowd of 70,000 people, that's an iconic moment. That's getting shown for the rest of all time. Are they going to show the shot of him holding the title and you see the big fan in the background? I don't think so. So that was stolen from us. So I feel like that's one of those letdowns. Like that would have, and there's nothing that it's not the company's fault. It's not Drew's fault. It's nobody's fault. The pandemic literally stole that from us, and it was kind of a letdown for me.
Yeah, I could see that definitely being a letdown, and it's something that was on my short list as well. But my biggest company letdown through all of it is I never was able to get behind the Jon Moxley title run in AEW. It was good, but it wasn't great. It had okay matches, but nothing that was, this is the guy that's going to lead us through a pandemic. Like when I think of like world title runs during a pandemic, like that isn't even like the first three that hop into my mind. Like,
in hindsight, I agree with you on that. In hindsight, I actually agree with you. Like you look back at his last year, his title run, like it was good. It was okay. Nothing stood out. You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of it has to do with the fans. I think he's a guy that really draws a lot of emotions from the fans.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that but at that point, like if you know that this is a guy like we're not getting 5-star matches out of him, like maybe they should have gone to something sooner rather than dragging it out into the pay-per-view. Then he wins at the pay-per-view and then he loses at a random Dynamite because it's going up against a decent NXT show. Like I almost think I think the biggest thing that I have is if you're going to be your own promotion, which AEW says it is, stop the dick measuring contest.
Yeah.
They're having a big NXT fucking takeover Vengeance Day. We need to load up our Dynamite roster or lineup with 17 title matches. Why?
Did you see Cody basically take credit for NXT moving off of Wednesday nights, if that even happens?
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, we'll send him a letter of congratulations or whatever." And I'm like
the fact they're acknowledging this shit's stupid. Like it's petty. Focus on.
It has nothing to like. If NXT moves off of Wednesday nights, it's because the NHL beat them, not because of fucking AEW.
Which, by the way, for those of you that don't know, I think I shared it in the group chat. The NHL and Disney agreed earlier this week to a 7-year contract, which is going to move everything to ESPN and Hulu. So there's a strong possibility that NXT may not have to move because they may have bought USA out because that starts next year.
Okay.
So the reality of the situation is you might get NXT being moved to Tuesday night every once in a while at the tail end of the NHL season once NBC Sports Network shuts down.
Yeah.
But you may not get a permanent move from NXT to Tuesday nights.
Right.
That's it. You're the company that couldn't get the fucking ending revolution correct. So don't talking shit. I'm sorry. I'm with you on that one.
Or they got it right and they fucking pulled the wool over all of our eyes and got us all to spend $50. All right. The final Pandemys, and this one is one that actually we've been comical with a lot of these. This one's going to be one that we're going to be a little bit more serious about. The final Pandemys is Pandemic Wrestler of the Year.
I got mine.
Oh, go ahead.
Bayley carried WWE. With Drew, of course. But to me, the Bayley Sasha angle was the most interesting angle of the peak of the pandemic for me.
Well, she definitely carried the SmackDown division because their world champion was fucking AWOL.
Right. To me, Bayley stood out. I mean, I would say Drew too, but to me, Bayley just stood out more than anybody else for me. And again, her angle with Sasha was by far the most entertaining of the pandemic, in my opinion.
All right, Joseph.
I'm gonna go off the beaten path.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna go with the best wrestler in AEW. I'm gonna go with the guy who has actually been probably the most entertaining guy in AEW. And
I guess
the world champion.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Never mind. You're the world champion. Never mind.
No. No.
Cowboy shit.
I was like orange, but no.
Adam
Cowboy
Page.
Shit.
Tell me, look, this man is involved in a storyline with the Dark Order, who we all hated up until very recently.
Whoa. I did not hate them at the very beginning.
Fine.
I said that once they got Brody, it made sense.
You're right.
Join the Dark Order.
Correct Brody. Once Brody got there, it had a direction.
Join Dark Order.
Didn't we actually have a topic on that on this podcast last year about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is this is a man who's involved in a bunch of stuff that should be middle of the road at best, and it's still some of the best stuff on the programs because he's involved in it. He should be the next world champion, and it should be sooner than later. I agree, like you were saying earlier, I don't need it at the next pay-per-view, but maybe the one after that. Maybe All Out. Maybe give me the big moment this year at some point. Adam Page is your guy. And you've been building him even if you didn't realize it. So fucking just pull the trigger.
I agree.
Think about it summertime.
All right. My Pandemic Wrestler of the Year. I went off the beaten path just like Joe. He was the first and is the first since the rebrand of the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. He was a Ring of Honor Tag Champion for a really long time with his tag team partner, Jay Lethal. It is the leader of the foundation. It is Jonathan Gresham. Gresham has been great. Gresham has been great. He's had great matches in Ring of Honor, and I think it's just going to keep going. He has a match. He probably has a pure title match at the anniversary show that hasn't been announced yet. But it's going to be a lot of fun watching him. I know Hot Sauce has a match. I know Lethal has a match. I kind of hope Lethal wins the world title from Rush. I'm kind of over Rush.
Yeah.
I would love to see the foundation basically have all the gold. So I wouldn't be opposed to that. Obviously, Drew is probably one of the best WWE wrestlers, and his run during the pandemic has been one of the most like out there and like good runs in a long time from a WWE wrestler. So you got to give kudos to Drew. Obviously, this isn't to take anything away from him. Bayley was the face of the SmackDown division for a long time, especially when the world champion wasn't there and AJ was defending the Intercontinental title like it was the world title. It was AJ and Bayley that kept that brand afloat the first couple months of the year, or during the shutdown, I should say. But yeah, I love what Jonathan Gresham's done in Ring of Honor. I think he's going to be a continued force in that show. I hope that we get Foundation dripping in all the gold after the anniversary show. But yeah, I agree with Joe. Also, Hangman Page deserves a lot of kudos because anytime you can turn cowboy shit into fucking one of the best fucking acts in the company, if not the world, You got to put your hat on it. I love that lawnmower that he drove too. My lawnmower was kind of sick. Did you see that they almost tipped it and Colt Cabana jumped off so it didn't tip over?
No. Oh my god.
If you go back and watch it, like they all get on it and they tell the dude 5 to not get on it because it's too much weight, and literally he goes to pull away and you just see it like go like up in the air, and all of a sudden you see Cabana's feet just go flying off of it because he jumped off.
Oh my god.
Pretty awesome.
All righty, before we get to MVPs, Joe, what's your thing you love this week?
This week we need music for this eventually. But this week on I Love That For You, I'm going to give a special shout out to my man, Mike, you're wearing his t-shirt, Andrade, who went out there on social media, took away all references to WWE, took away all references to his current character, then went and asked to get a release, and then got turned down. Up until the point where he got turned down, Andrade, all of that, like taking them off of your social media, being like, Mira, I'm ready. I don't want this job no more. I'm going to tell you where to shove it. Andrade, I love that for you. I'm sorry they didn't let you go. I hope you lose your job soon as you want to. As he wants to.
Mike's face like, ooh, lose your job. Ooh,
I want La Sombra in AEW. Let's do it.
You going to lose your job.
All right. MVPs, guys. Let's wrap it up.
Mike, you go first.
I have 2 sets of MVPs.
Go ahead.
First off, number 1, the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions of Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. Number 2, the brand new, as it happened tonight, Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Champions. David Finlay, Juice Robinson.
Really?
Yep. That's what I was going to break earlier when the show started, but I said I'd get to it. I was gonna make Finn Juice my MVPs. Also on that show, Ace Austin won the Impact title, and Rich Swann won the unification match, meaning we're going to get Rich Swann, Kenny Omega, in probably a 60-minute draw at Retribution. Or whatever the fuck it's called.
All right. Mine is, I know people feel let down about the hype or the overhype, but Christian Cage, I think he can help. I feel like he'll be good in AEW.
I really
don't know why.
I really thought you were going Mojo Rawley there.
No. I really think Chris Cage can help, both in the locker room and as well as in the ring.
He can't hurt.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Anything helps at this point. All hands in, baby. So Christian Cage, my MVP this week.
My MVP this week is Daniel Bryan, because his promo work on SmackDown, like, look, this is a guy that I've been a fan of since 2002. If you had told me that, 19 years later, he'd be cutting the best promos on WWE television on Friday nights, I would have been like, yo, you crazy, though. Because he had not cut a promo for his life for like the first decade of his career. And he didn't need to. And now he's on WWE TV, and this man has me ready for him to win the title from Roman Reigns and go fight Edge at WrestleMania. I'm almost more invested in that than Roman versus Edge. So I don't think it's going to happen, but the fact that he can get me to the point where I want it to happen, where I'm cheering for it to happen, where I'm like, yo, change that WrestleMania main event. Get me Daniel Bryan in there. This is the power that he has. This is why he's one of the GOATs. This really is. Exactly.
I'm with you in that.
His best promo before that was probably the Killer Bees one with Paul London, where he laughed his ass off, and they didn't really even cut a promo.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just humor.
God. Hybrid Dolphins.
Yes, Hybrid Dolphins.
Hybrid Dolphins.
Hybrid Dolphins.
All right, fellas. Remember 2 weeks ago when I said it was the longest show ever we did? Remember 2 weeks ago we said that? Remember I said last week we topped it?
Yes.
Well, we just fucking say, fuck you, hold your beer twice now.
Another one.
And another one. And another one.
Another one.
As you check out their podcast, Mike and Joe's podcast also. Name Subject to Change podcast. And don't forget, guys, we are now on our new day starting next week. The new day.
New day?
Yes, it is.
On Thursdays. Recording Thursdays, be out Friday morning, first thing. Yeah. Joe, by the way, we haven't done this in a wild time. Joe on Twitter, who doesn't have one?
No.
Why would they call me Burn?
First of all, nobody goes on Twitter anymore. That's like so 2020.
Yeah. I'm less and less on social media these days. To be honest, I'm starting to fall back. I'm more on Instagram or anything. That's fun. So anyway,
I love that for you.
Thank you. All right, fellas. Great show tonight, and our new day next week, Thursday night. Can't wait.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Good night.